All right, everybody, welcome back to Subtracting Real Numbers. We're going to be putting in a little bit more complicated thing. We're going to be substituting in a number and then subtracting real numbers. So once again, this is algebra. Algebra has a lot to do with variables and making sure that those variables have a number and represented by a number. In a problem like this, you would have y minus x plus 6.8. Now we talked about this minus x right here in adding real numbers. So hopefully we can be able to do it. I would suggest that you pause these videos before I get going. Try them yourselves and let's see if you get it correct. So hopefully you pause the video. Alright, so this x right here, well, let's work with the y first. This y right here represents that y, okay, for this problem. That's a different problem over there. This y can get plugged in for this y because y equals 7.2. And so whenever you see y in your problem, that means that it equals this number. So y is 7.2. And then same thing for the x. Now the x has a little bit of a special thing that's going on. The x is equal to negative 2, but there's also this negative right here. Now whenever you have a negative in front of the x, it still has to stay there. So I'm going to put a negative right there. Now I encourage kids in my class to put parentheses around whatever they plug in. So there's a parentheses and the entire piece has to go in. So now I have a minus negative 2, okay, like that. So we changed the y to 7.2 because y is equal to 7.2. We changed our x to negative 2 because x is equal to negative 2. And so we can substitute in those numbers. Now, in my last video of the basics of substituting or subtracting real numbers, there's the negative, and I called it the keeps change rule, or whatever else I've heard. Now, if a negative is next to a negative, we need to combine the negative. It looks like a little face. Anyway, so I'm going to now have 7.2 plus 2 plus 6.8. Okay, so 7.2 plus 2 plus 6.8. Now we need to start working with these decimals to put them together. So let's actually add these together. I'm going to do it on the board here. If I was doing a math test, I would encourage you to do this just so you don't mess it up. So 8 plus 2 is 10. Now remember, you want to line up your decimals to make sure that they're in line here. So now we have 7 plus 6, that's 13, plus one more, is 14. And we can drop the decimal now that it's back to a number like that. The reason I put the decimals together and not the 2 is because I didn't know that these were going to equal 14. But adding this and then adding another decimal just makes it a little bit harder. So there we are at 16. So the answer to this, y minus x plus 6.8, is actually 16. So let's look at this other example. Once again, pause the video, see if you can do it on your own. So I have x equals negative 3 and y equals 5.2. So I can substitute in this x for what equals this x and just plug it in. So negative 3. Now I have a minus y, so the negative sign here needs to just drop down into our new problem. Okay? And put a parentheses if you want, or like I said, I usually tell everybody to put parentheses so that they can understand where they just plug something in at. Okay. So now I have a minus 3 minus 5.2 plus 8. Now I'm going to go ahead and erase these. So let's work this out. Once again, I can put together whatever I want because in one of my past videos I put boxes around what was there. I can put together whichever piece I would like to because it's all going to go together in the end. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put, I got a -3 and a -5.2. Now, if you have two negative signs in front, so the net front of -3, or sorry, there's a negative in front of 3 and a minus in front of 0.2, or 5.2, so I can actually add those two together because we start with a -3 and we're taking 5.2 away. So I'm going to actually add those. So that would give me a -8.2. And always try to remember, be very detailed on the negatives because I almost just did it. And leaving off your negative sign completely changes the number. So -8.2 plus 8. So we start with the -8.2. We're going to bring it up out of the negative signs because they're adding 8, a +8. So it'd actually end with -0.02. So that would be our answer. Okay. So hopefully we're able to do that. So we're substituting in for your variables, and then we're working with subtraction of those numbers that they give us. All right. Hopefully that helps. We'll see you on my next video.